Aloha and welcome to Local My Life. Cassie is saying hi too. We made it. We're into New Year. Congratulations. We're into 2023. Hope y'all had an amazing New Year. Let me give all the dogs treats to keep them quiet for a few minutes. Hope y'all had a great time. I've been having fun in there with Grandma Sherry. Oh, it looks like Burden joined us, and we had Tammy and chat and all. But if you guys, while I get them settled down, pull up all your notepad stuff. Burden actually covered John way back when he went missing, and it's been 6 months. In 3 days, it's going to be 6 months. And I thought it was a good time for us to come back, remember John, know what happened with him so that we can get the word out to more and hopefully bring him home, because he is still missing after 6 months. So pull up a chair, pen, paper, and whatever addresses and Facebooks and Twitter and Instagram, and you know all that fun stuff. And I'll see you right after this.
Aloha and welcome to the Local My Life.
Hey, gang. Okay, I think they're settled. Yep, gotta have the notebook, snacks, drinks, all that. I got my iced tea. Actually, it's iced tea from yesterday, I think. No, January 1st. It's 2-day-old, yeah, but it's been in the fridge, so it's still good. So I hope you guys had an awesome New Year's. Between all the fireworks and all, I've almost lost my voice is like right on the edge right now. So we are going to see how this goes, gang. And but first, we got tons of people in chat you got to say hi to because we're into the new year, and I'm so happy. 2023 is going to be great, guys. 2023 is going to be an amazing year. I can feel that already. I'm looking at my 2 pups that are playing like crazy right now, so I don't know if that means it's a good year or a bad year. Okay, it's just normal for them, but whatever. Our dear Grandma Sherry, you're the bomb girl. And guys, look at this. Look at this. Aloha, kaikamahine, nani, beautiful woman. I love you, my dear. I love you, love ya. And Miss Tammy, oh my gosh, I gave them treats and they're still barking like crazy. And how you doing, Miss Tammy? We were talking, and then I was trying to deal with good old Battissimo that does not want to work the way she's supposed to work, or he's supposed to work. And yes, Grandma Sherry and I decided Battissimo is a diva pita. Nice and easy solution right there. Burden, how are you doing? I hope you're feeling better, my dear. Getting some rest and all that. I think after the holidays, that's what all of us need is rest. We need like 3 days vacation just to get over the holidays. That's how I feel right now. And we'll see how that goes. Miss La Princessa, Princess Megan Elsa, how you doing, my dear? Love you, my dear. Hope you had a good one. I know a lot of people holiday because either people were sick or you had family or all these other different, it was a kind of weird holiday for a lot of people. And so I'm going to try to keep my voice wet. We'll see, because it's really kind of dry right now. There's Sleuth Mom, dear Sleuth Mom. How you doing, my dear? How you doing, my dear? And yes, Bop Bop. Our dear Bop Bop sitting in chat. So, like I mentioned at the beginning, Bop actually was one of the first people to cover John. John went missing back. Actually, let me bring this up so we can pull up some pictures of him and make sure we're focusing on the right stuff here. John Matson actually went missing over the summer. And this is a little different from one. A lot of times we cover, okay, when you come onto YouTube, you hear the children or people in their 20s or 30s. Okay, this is a case that happens more often than you guys would recognize. It's very, very common that people do go missing as they get older due to things like dementia. In John's case, John had dementia. He has dementia. Hey, Tim, how you doing, Tim? Yes, he is still missing, Princess Megan. John has, many of you guys know, I work in long-term care and have worked in facilities that specialized in dementia. So it's always been something that's very, very close to my heart. Because it's so easy for someone with dementia to disappear because of the fact that they are adults. And many times they don't recognize from moment to moment what is going on. Their disease is progressing, perhaps, but they still feel like they're okay. They don't realize what they're missing because of how the disease works on the brain. And that's another subject for another day. It's a fascinating thing on how it all works. And it's really, really people, some of my favorite residents that I've ever dealt with actually had dementia. I would love to sit and talk to them about their stories growing up and things like that. And it really helped them as they were progressing through the disease process. But it's so sad when you see the people who are suffering from this, because it is, I think it was Reagan said it was the long goodbye. And that's actually many times what it is, because of how the disease does progress and it comes, goes. One day you're remembering everything wonderfully, the next day you're not. It's hard for family because you want to treat everyone the same way and we're going to talk about some of the issues with dementia. I thought I'd throw some of those in here because it was one of the biggest concerns we had to deal with in the facility that I opened. I opened up a dementia facility, and wandering was one of the biggest concerns we had. And recognizing how could we prevent, you can't ever prevent. It's like we talk about with children. You can't prevent things 100%. It's that one little moment that something happens and you've tried to, and this family looks to me like they tried everything. Really tried, communicated with the community at large about what was going on with him and all that. But things do slip through because you want the person to be independent, especially in those early stages. We're not talking about someone who's in one of the later stages of dementia. It's that early stage where you want people to be as independent as possible. So I do want to kind of go through some of the things because I know a lot of people do have family, friends that do have dementia, and it is a very big concern. What can I do to make sure that they are safe if they do wander away? In fact, we used to talk about dementia in terms of different gemstones. So like the end stages were the pearl stage. Okay, it's gorgeous, kind of very soft stone, but it's gorgeous and has so many colors to it, but it's just kind of, it's just the sheen to it and all. There's so many things with it. Your areas that are more where he was, I suspect, which would have been the emerald stage. Emerald is green. You go. You go, 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 go. You can have a quick mouth too. Okay, and you may say things that hurt people and stuff like that. So there's so many different things. But yeah, like Grandma Sherry, the disappearance side can happen so quick. And sometimes someone talks about they went for a walk and they never did, but other times they have. And and many of us can talk about those stories and all that happened. And this gentleman loved to walk. It was his exercise. It was what he did to get exercise, to hang out with other people. Police say that he was very friendly and all. And I know, like, my grandfather loved to talk with people. And if you take someone who loves to talk with people and you lock them up in a household or a facility, that doesn't work with having communication and all, it just takes away from their quality of life. So he was out every day. John would go out walking quite often. And the community knew. The community knew that he did have dementia. They would see him. In fact, the last person to see him was a couple that would see him walking regularly. And they actually talked about how they recognized his gait, his walking style and things. So to start with, okay, what you're looking at here, of course, are a couple pictures of John. John went missing on July 6th from Hampstead, New Hampshire. He's 79 years old, 6 foot tall, 180 pounds. As you can tell, he has his gray hair and a beard. At that time, he had a beard. His eyes blue, so blue eyes with the gray hair. Now, something that's very, very telling for him here is he has a birthmark that is on the right side of his face. Okay, so it's his neck and ear. There's a purplish birthmark that actually looks like maybe a bruise or something like that. It could also come across as a bruise, but there's definitely something there. And I've got multiple pictures. Sorry, dog wants up. I've got multiple pictures that we're going to keep looking at. And in a couple of these, you can see the birthmark. On the poster here, I have him straight on, and you can see if you blow up that picture, you'll see the yellow arrow that is pointing towards the birthmark on his face. That is the telltale sign. If someone comes across John, because gang, yes, it's been 6 months, but you know how I am about there's always hope. He lived fairly near a pretty busy road. Could he have gone and hitchhiked somewhere? Okay, yes, there's also possibilities that there's woods around, and we're going to actually look at the location and all that. But there's so many possibilities. And when someone has dementia and the stress of not knowing where they are, it can make it harder and harder to remember everything. So yeah, and that's one of the things. So many people, you do run into this stage, especially depending where you live and all, as to whether or not, how do you deal with supervision? Okay. If you live in a very, very wide, rural area, you may not have the supervision as much as someone who's going to be in a big, big town or something like that. So there's so many different potentials within this. Now, of course, yes, having supervision helps, but just people walking, and we'll go back to this later, things like we used to actually sew GPS devices into people's jackets. I had a couple residents who I knew would wander. We had wander guards in place. We had their bracelets on. We had all that. They would get out of the bracelets no matter how. It just amazed me how ingenious some people can be to get out of those bracelets and all. So we would take GPS things and sew it into their jackets. I had a couple that I actually would tie onto shoelaces. And because you would give someone a phone, and the problem is they realize what the phone's there for, and they'll leave the phone behind. And because you got to remember, someone who's dealing with dementia, they want to be independent. The biggest fear they have is not being independent anymore. All of their ability to be a self-sustaining adult is slowly disappearing, and they're grabbing onto whatever they can. So as family, you try to figure things out. Yes, he did, Grandma Sherry, he did live with his family. And let me pull this up so you got a couple more pictures. Here's a picture that will show a little bit more of the birthmark that he has. It's fairly large, actually. It actually looks like it's a good that large to me. And also, we got a couple different pictures of him here. The day he disappeared, hey, welcome back, my dear. Hope you've had a great Christmas, New Year. I talked to you since Christmas, but New Year. Hope you've had a good one. And the day he disappeared, he kissed his wife goodbye. His wife's name is Rita. And he is actually 79. Oh, your dad has gray hair, Princess. Gotcha. So that morning, she was due to go with her daughter to Boston. The two were going to be going to Boston. So she kissed him goodbye before they left. She thought he was going to stay at home that day And he didn't. He actually, without anyone's knowledge, decided to go for a walk that day. Rita commented that he knew he was getting worse. The doctor told him he could not drive anymore. But that day, as I was leaving, he asked me for the car keys he had forgotten. And guys, this is very, very common as you get older and you're told by doctors that you can't drive. Oh my, you have no idea. I've actually had to take keys away. We had to hide keys from people in facilities, anything we could, because again, you want to be independent as much as possible. Kiki, welcome, my dear. Thank you so much. Welcome to the Ohana. And love you, my dear. Thanks. So that day they had already talked, and we're going to talk about some of the actions they had taken before. But the last time, sorry, gang. The last time he was seen was that Wednesday around 7 o'clock, 6, 7 evening time. Okay. Between 3:30 and 8, we know he was out and about walking. He walked from his, and let me do this real quick. So this is the neighborhood he lived in. So as you can tell, it is a more, I don't want to say rural area, but it's not like downtown, gang. Not by any means is it downtown type. Okay, let me pull this where I can actually look at it a little better. Okay, so as I go through, and I think you'll be able to see this as I do it. Let's see. Yeah, you can. Good. So where he lived was over in this area, Amy Lane. So you can tell lots of woods. Housing is pretty, okay, kind of semi-rural area. Okay, it was suburbs, maybe, things on that. Maybe suburbs is a better way to put it. Houses have their own areas, okay, nice size yards, things like that. He lived and started off here in the Amy Lane area, okay, and started his walking. Now, he walked 3.8 miles to his first stop that we recognized. Okay, so he walked from here all the way to Pasta Loft up in this area. Okay, so there we go. So you can see Amy Lane, Pasta Loft here. Pasta Loft is in a little area, okay. The family would go to Pasta Loft very frequently. It was a place that people knew who he was. Okay, he would go there quite often with the family. You can notice we got a church right across the street. We got other areas here. We got a pretty busy road right there. But the family would go there quite often. They had talked with the waiters there before because they knew he would walk there and he would buy lunch. Okay, he'd go in there and talk story with people, things like that. That day, he did go to Pasta Loft and he had a meal and 2 vodka drinks. Now, the vodka drinks, this was one thing that I thought was really well done by the family. They knew he would be one who wanders around and talks and goes shopping and stuff like that. And they knew that he would want his little drinks. Well, you try to tell someone, I know it's easy for all of us, okay, out here to say, oh my gosh, why is someone having a drink? Just don't do it. Well, it's very hard when you've got a loved one who wants something. The more you tell them no, especially if they have dementia, the more they're going to want to do it. It's like a teenager in some way. Okay. If you start saying, no, you can't have alcohol. You can't have alcohol. You've got to get creative. And that's what the family did. The family knew he loved to come to this restaurant and he would get drinks when they'd all be there together, I'm sure, things like that. So they had told the staff at the restaurant that because of his condition, that he could not handle much alcohol. And they gave them permission to water down his drinks as much as they wanted. I mean, water them down. Okay, just enough to get him happy where they didn't have to deal with anything. Okay, because it is hard when you're dealing with someone with dementia. Okay, it can become a very tete-a-tete type thing. So you find little sneaky ways of making things work out. So watering that down was actually a great thing. And one of the server actually told the police, yes, this is something we knew about. Okay, and we would water his drinks down. Okay, so got to play that into play here. After he was done with his lunch, he got up and he started walking back. Okay, so we add that again, 3.8-mile walk back. During this, he stopped in Osaka and spoke to a couple people. See, exactly. And that's it, Sherry. That's one of the things a lot of people, if you've never dealt with dementia, there's an amazing person here on YouTube. Well, a couple people. Teepa Snow, I tell people, if you have someone who has dealt with dementia, Teepa Snow is one of the greatest people to be able to do some research on behaviors and all. Joyce Samard is another one. Really, really great ideas, especially when you are caring for your loved one at home and they have dementia, because it can very quickly become problematic. So they did a great job with that. He started walking back. He talked with a number of people on the way back. And no one saw any issues with him. They said he didn't seem like he was having any problems. He didn't seem drunk. He didn't seem, none of those types. He was in no real physical distress, and he wasn't really confused, which is very, very common for those early stages of dementia. And if he was just at the point where he was being told driving is not the best thing, he was most likely in those earlier stages. And so people saw him. They thought he was fine, no problems with it. Some people actually offered him a ride home. They know him in the area, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, why don't we drive you? No, I'm fine. I can walk home. Okay. So, and that, again, like I said, very common. Okay. Oh my gosh, Sherry, you are like the best in the world. Teepa Snow's videos. Teepa is amazing. She is truly, truly amazing. And I've gone to multiple classes with hers. Oh my gosh, just if you have a loved one with dementia, do yourself a favor. Please go to Teepa's channel and watch what she does. She does a great, great job with stuff. So he continues walking back. As he was walking back, he went by Extra Mart right here. So halfway through, he ran into Extra Mart. Sounds to me kind of like a 7-Eleven-ish type thing. Okay, a little convenience type store. So he ran in there. You can see he knows his way. He knew his way. He was heading it back in the right direction here. Again, people asked, no, he wanted to walk back. A lot of times they're trying to get energy out. And walking is a way. They pace. If anyone's dealt with some dementia people, they will pace because they need to get the energy out. And so as he continued, the last people to see him was a couple on Parkland Road in Emerson Village. So that was somewhere in this area. You can see how close he was to home. Okay. Emerson Village and Campground has some trailer park. There's a trailer park back there near the woods and all that. And there was a couple that were sitting on their screened-in porch. They saw him. They didn't talk with him, but they saw him walking by. They said, no, we know his gait. We know how he walks. We were confident that was him walking back. That was sometime between 7 and 8 o'clock that night. That was the last anyone heard of him. We don't know after that what happened, but you are talking 1 to 2 blocks from his house. Now, yes, there's a lot of potentials here. We know, family knows. Family have done, in fact, I think it was October was the last search they did, because they wanted to do a search as weather was changing and stuff like that. And, but you've got some large wooded areas in these areas. Okay, you've got a pretty busy road right here. So there's a lot of potentials there. If he overshot it, he could have ended up anywhere in this area here. Okay, and this is looking more like in town. And you got a middle school. Yeah, that's Hampstead itself right there. So there were always possibilities. Okay, does someone pick up and hitchhike and end up in another location and could be homeless at this point? Okay, so this is a time of year that if we can get his picture out to locations, and let me bring up the picture again now because that's what we need to get out. People who are near homeless shelters, okay, to get this information out to them so they can be looking for him. There have been many, many sightings. Each sighting has been found to be a false lead, okay? But people keep reporting the sightings. And I am sure the family would rather people report someone that just might be than not report and then later on find out that would have been him. So, yeah, the family, think of it. His family has been exhausting so many. Yeah, October they were out. Okay, it was back on the news again. I'm really hoping he found his way into, okay, a homeless shelter or something like that. Yeah, the lost in the woods is a very scary possibility there. And at 6 months, I think the family realizes that's very, very possible at this point. Especially as you get older, there's other things that happen with a human as we get older. Think about your parents. They tend to get cold much quicker. Okay, my mom, for example, never wants the AC on, and I need the AC on all the time. So they worry about him right now. Okay, is he safe? Okay, if he is still with us, is he in a warm location? Those types of things. And there's a lot of people out. And if he isn't, gang, there's that closure bit. We all understand, and I'm sure the family understand at 6 months. Things can be go in different directions very quickly. And but not knowing is one of the hardest things in the world. I don't even know how a family deals with that day in, day out. And the feelings of even us, we're sitting here talking. I had residents who would find, I actually had a resident one time, give you an idea how sneaky they can be at getting out. I was at another facility on the mainland and I was visiting the facility and I noticed there was this one impeccably dressed lady, probably in her early 80s, I'd say, late 70s, impeccably dressed. And she had her little Sunday purse over her shoulder, her wrist. And I was noticing she didn't walk ahead of me. She kept kind of staying behind me. And I'd walk and I'd be talking with one of the employees and all that. And I'd be looking and I'd try to talk with her at times and all of a sudden the staff member was like, okay, we got to get through this door quickly. And I'm like, what? And I said, okay, just did it. And then we got through and she mentioned to me, this lady, what happens by being so well, she looked like any other visitor, but she would wait for people to leave and go out the door. And then she'd sneak out the door with them. And so things happen so quickly, so easily. And unfortunately, a lot of times we don't hear about the missing once they get to this age. And it's sad because they need the help as much as any other person, any other 6-year-old, 10-year-old, 20-year-old. They need us to be there looking for them because they a lot of times cannot put the processes together in their head as to what's going on. So hope you have a great day, KK, my dear. And so love you, my dear. And so if you guys can help us with getting the information out for him, okay, more pictures, him, his wife, family just want him home at this point. And unfortunately, one of the things I found on Facebook is people were talking about how the posters are starting to come down. It's been 6 months, and the posters that were there are just not there anymore. Okay, I don't know when the last time was that I saw John's picture on Facebook. We need to remember not just John, all of the people that go missing. Okay, just because a couple weeks go by doesn't mean that it's not as important for us to share as much information as possible. So if you guys can help us get this information out, there's a great little Facebook group right now out there for John Matson. Please take a look at that. Help us on sharing the posters out. I'll share the posters out on my community page as soon as we're done here. However, Discord does also have all posters. As the posters get done, I immediately put them into Discord so anyone can download and get those out. So please feel free to join the Discord at this point, and we can get you guys put posters nice and quickly that way. So sorry, someone wants my attention. And so again, John Matson, okay, if we can help get his story, we can become his voice at this point. Okay, he was last seen July 6th of 2022, so last summer, 6 months from 3 days from now. So we're almost at 6-month anniversary. He was last seen in Hampstead, New Hampshire, 79 years old, 6 foot tall, so tall man, 180 pounds. Okay, maybe at this point he could be weighing much less than that at this point, especially if he's out walking about and things like that. He could have lost a lot of weight at this point. He's got gorgeous gray hair, a beard at that time. I don't know if he still does have a beard. Blue eyes. He also has that purple birthmark on his neck and ear on the right side of his face. Okay, it may look like a bruise. That was one of the comments I heard someone say, does it look kind of like a bruise? So that might be another way people might recognize it. He does have dementia. And as such, if you go up to him and ask him, hey, are you John Matson? He's most likely might not recognize it. Or he may recognize his name. Okay, what does happen with dementia, okay, is they forget they're 79 years old. They, in their heads, he's probably thinking he's more like 30, 40 years old. Okay, as the disease progresses, he is going further back in his memories. Okay, not now. So do we know if he has a military? I did not see anything about a military background. A lot of people his age, I do have to say, you had, of course, Korea and Vietnam. So many people could have. And yes, you could have many different issues pop up with that, PTSD, things on that level, which do make dementia even harder to deal with. And so I'm not sure if that's the direction you were getting at when you mentioned it, but it is definitely, I would not be surprised if he did have a military background, even if it was just wartime. And they do say that he has ties to Woburn and Springfield, and Lakeland, Florida. I need to double check that spelling because for some reason I think I have that spelling, but I'll check. If it is, I'll update my thing. But I think that, in Lakeland, Florida. So he could actually, especially if those were areas he lived when he was younger, he may be thinking, oh, I got to go home, and home is this location, not that location. And because of just where he is in the disease process. Good point, Sherry. Survival skills. If you're military, especially at war level, you do have those survival skills ingrained in you. And those survival skills and just where you are would be at that frame in your aging process or the way things go. So that's a great point. Great point. And the fact is, he did go missing during the summer. And if you do go back to this area, he could have wandered in the woods for a while and then found his way out to one of these main roads and hitchhiked from there, gang. That's why I will never, ever give up hope on things, because there's always hope. There's always hope. So if we can help get this story out, again, as usual, if you're not from Hampstead and you see John, call 911. You don't have to remember the phone number that's there. You can call 911. Police did say that he is very personable, very personable. So feel free going up to him and just saying, oh, hi, have a talk with him. If you're talking story with someone, okay, they may turn their head and you're going to notice if this is here or not. So that gives you ways of talking. No, you don't have to go up and say, hey, are you John Matson? Did you disappear? Is this? Okay, you can just be talking with him long enough to kind of develop a relationship, and from there get the police involved. Many people have thought they've seen him on the side of the road walking or things like that, and the police are looking at every single clue that comes in. They're checking out. So if you guys can help me with getting his picture out, let's try to get his picture out again, okay, like it was 6 months ago, and then last October during the search. Okay, I will definitely keep you guys up to date. I did mention a couple of the different hints for dementia. Okay, for those of you who do have family or friends who do have dementia, wandering is a huge possibility with them. So utilize technology. Utilize that technology. Try to find, there are companies out there that sell small little tags. Okay, heck, we have them for our wallets now, where you can put the Apple IDs and stuff like that into your wallets and find out where your wallet or your keychain is. Sew it into the bottom of a jacket that you know they never leave with, because there's also very set patterns. Okay, they will follow. Someone with dementia follows a pattern very regularly. So take a look at those different things. So thank you guys so much. You guys, thank you so much. Seriously. Every time we put out posters, I know Sleuth, Burden, the same thing. Everyone's out there sharing them as quickly as possible. And I love it. I mean, the support from this Ohana. Okay, we're all one big Ohana with all these people. These families kind of become all of our families too. And we care about them and the pain they're going through. And also, please help me in getting the story out. Let's see if we can find him and bring him home to his family one way or another. Let's bring him home to his family. And again, thank you to the awesome mods I have here, especially my dear Sherry. You are amazing, girl. And love all you guys. I hope you guys had an amazing New Year's Eve. And I will be seeing you on Friday for Mental Health Life. I am celebrating Christmas on Friday, by the way. So I will let you know what the plan is for Friday once I know what the plan is for Friday. So love you guys tons. Love you, Burden. Love you, love you. And I will see all of you guys later. Aloha, mahalo, and haole makahiki ho. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.